There are all these other communities doing something different than we are, especially when you can compare yourself to 3, 4, 5, 6 communities, and you find common ground between all those communities, and you look at your own community and say, well, why are we spending more money on that? It must be working if that many communities with similar budgets, similar populations have a similar policy. So it's up to the elected officials sometimes to change policy and to set policy that's going to benefit our budget, not to take benefits away from our employees, but to make it more equal and make it more on the same line that people with similar budgets, like I just, being redundant by saying the same thing. I think you understand where I'm going with it, what I'm saying. If we always have to go back to past practice, we can never go forward with changing anything that's going to be better for the city as a whole. Maybe not an individual, but a whole.
When you discuss the terms and conditions of employment and the benefits afforded to an employee of the city, that's something you discussed during negotiations. That's something that you work together with. There's a give and take in the negotiating process when you're specifically talking about the benefits that's afforded to that employee. So if that would be possibly my ask, is let's revisit this during negotiations.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding. Say that again. I'm sorry.
So I think it would be more reasonable for the council to discuss this during negotiations and specific to the terms and conditions of employment and the benefits that are reported to your city employees. I would keep that for contract negotiations, where there's a give and a take and a mutual agreement and a conversation to be had.
Okay, I guess I'm missing your point.
She said keep the way it is now and
and revisit it is what you're saying. I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing to begin with, so over this it's kind of muffled. I apologize for that. Thank you, Andrea, for explaining.
And that might be where the city, and again, I'm not going to offer you recommendations on how to approach negotiations, but that might be where you're going to cease practice, where you're going to establish a practice, or you're going to put the union on notice, whereas the union can also put the employer on notice, and have those conversations when the contract's open.
Mm-hmm.
I understand in past practice, we could go back 15, 20 years. That's why the contract opens up every 3 years, 2 years, so you can have those conversations.
Well, right now it's not in the contract.
Understood.
So right now we can adjust our policy because it is not in the contract, I do believe.
Yeah, so if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you stating that you want to withdraw the grievance and take it up at negotiations?
No, I'd like to keep the maintained established practice, absolutely. I'd like the council to maintain the $60 stipend for the police chief.
So, okay, so I'd like to clarify for the record that I don't believe that it is mutually agreed upon past practice. It was explicitly removed from negotiation in 2016 when the council set the stipend. And so in reviewing the grievance, including the applicable provisions of the labor agreement and the historical practices cited by you in your complaint, there is no express contractual requirement for the $60 a month cell phone stipend because it wasn't negotiated. The city council, acting within its management rights under Article 5 of the agreement, adopted this policy setting a $40 stipend on March 5th of this year, changing the stipend that it withheld and maintained its own control over, separate from the union agreement. So your statement about past practice, the practice wasn't memorialized in the contract, nor is there mutual agreement that it's binding on the terms of employment. And as such, it's under the city's purview to maintain that stipend. And they don't have to do that in perpetuity because it's under their management rights. The new policy applies to all of the eligible positions and was adopted in good faith and transparency and applies equally to everyone. So it's not governed by the negotiated labor union agreement. It's under the city's management rights, and the city has made a decision to change the stipend amount. I hope that's clear.
Understood. So as a union business agent, how would you like me to direct the membership forwards? If they choose not to take that stipend, would you be willing to provide radios or a clear line of communication for them to report to work in their off hours?
I think that we would have to look at we'd go back to see, my first step would be talking to a couple of the communities, seeing who they're using for the phones that they're buying and supplying to their city employees. Because I think there are some packages that are available for even less than $40. So that's, I think if that came down to it, then we would probably end up going that way. I mean, that would be a decision we would all have to make together, of course. That would be my opinion.
How many radios are in your department?
What's that?
How many radios are in your department? Don't each of your officers have one?
Yeah, each of my officers have.
Okay, so they're problem solved. Just keep your radio with you 24 hours a day.
City Hall can't contact them. Or the prosecutors, or the other area chiefs.
You have an office phone, right?
Yeah.
They typically don't call you outside of office hours, so they'll just have to wait. Well, then you'll have to go to the office and call them, I guess. If that's what you're telling us. I'm not going to sit here and be threatened by, if I don't have this or have that, I'm not going to do this, over $240 a year. Your department takes up 30% of the city's budget. You have full support of the entire council. We're going down this over $20 a month that every single person on there for fairness has. I like you, Troy. I hope that we're still friends when this is all over with, but I'm not going to go ahead and personally go for this extra $20. It's fair across the board for all the people. We're trying to establish things that are equal for all the employees. I get you might have, if you lose your cell phone, that's a different story. You come back, I'm more than happy to make sure that you have a cell phone to replace you lose something in the line of duty for your particular job. I'll support that. But we bend over backwards for your department to make sure you have everything that you need to make sure our city's safe. We support you 100%. I'm not going back on the cell phone thing. And I feel like I'm being, well, what are you going to do about this if I don't give you $20 more a month?
Respectfully, it wasn't a threat. I asked
Well,
for
that's
your
how it
guidance.
came across.
I asked for your guidance and how you would like me to protect this.
Well, it came across pretty like, well, what are you going to do about this if you don't do that? That's just how I'm taking it. Sorry if I'm a little cranky, but
So would the council be willing to hold what we want to call an established past practice until the council has an opportunity to vet out the cost of a professional cell phone versus a personal cell phone?
Right now, we have a policy. We're going to keep the policy enforced.
Okay.
I think, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, I guess what we would have to do is vote on it right now and then we'll know.
Well, so the council doesn't have to render a decision today.
Okay.
Under the agreement, we have 10 days to provide a written response. Unless the council wants to take official action, or they can direct me to prepare a written response in compliance with how you want to handle that. But that's up to the council.
I'm personally ready to get it behind us in the rearview mirror and move on. I mean, we have a lot of time into this already. We've been here 2 or 3 times. I mean, that's up to everybody as a whole, what you want to do. But
If the council denies this grievance, I will be pushing for arbitration on this, so it won't be a major. This is important to me and it's important to my membership.
Isn't this something that should be done at contract time?
I agree, that was my suggestion.
in 2 years, we can bring it up in contract time.
I was just gonna ask, when is the contract up in 2 years?
We're in 2 years.
Second year of a 3 year?
Yeah, we're in the second year of a 3-year, and we purposely eliminated all the cell phones out of these contracts. That's why we bought the phones for the cars, so that we could level out the cost for the cell phones. It was all part, I understand, Troy, you weren't the chief at that time, but that was purposely done by the council and all parties at the time. I know you weren't the chief at the time, all signed off on it.
Chief
So,
also took the job knowing that the stipend was gonna be $60 when he was afforded the opportunity to work here.
I guess one thing that I have a question on you, is that we're pretty much the only one that pays the extra $20 a month. And, why why is it higher for our town versus the other towns for the same positions?
They don't pay a stipend at all because the work phone is completely separate from their personal phone. So we actually, in the grand scheme of things, if you want to put out to like a monthly or yearly cost, you're actually paying significantly more than what the city of Bath is paying the chief of police for $40 a month.
Okay.
I mean, again, there's gonna be comparables. You can buy a phone at Walmart for $50. You can buy a $1,500 iPhone that's capable of doing all the work that might be needed.
Mhm.
Probably extra security measures with the more you're gonna spend on a phone. Obviously the plan and who you choose to go through. I go through, it's $15 a month. You go through AT&T, it's actually about $130, but you might need that extra cell phone coverage and that reliability of the AT&T network. It's gonna be different for everybody.
Out of the towns that I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly all the towns because it was 8 months ago, but there were 2 towns that did pay stipends and they paid $40. And their policy was, we don't replace a broken phone, we don't replace a lost phone. That's up to you. If you want to put insurance on your phone, you can go ahead and do that. We give you $40 a month towards your bill, period. That's what their policy, it was a simple policy.
I did comparables of all the cities that had a police department in the nearby area, I'd say probably 30, 40 mile range.
Like I said, I can't remember which 2 towns. I'd have to go back and do another investigation and pull that all together because I do not have that note and I don't.
No, I know Ely was one, because I spoke to
Mhm.
they just do flat.
They just do
$40 bucks.
$40, everybody.
They do have a specific phone just for work.
Jim, do you have anything to say?
I'm trying to do some costs on this and where we can be better off. Are we gonna be better off by paying the 20 or go to a different phone system? Give them a work phone, we'll pay less a month. You can get,
Mhm.
like if you go to, like say, Consumer Cellular or something like that, you're paying $20 or $25 a month for a phone. Now, I don't know what the cost would be to buy one, but I'm sure we could come up with some deals. In the long run, I don't know how we'd be. I can't say yet.
Right, without that information. I would prefer to take the extra days.
Yeah, take the 10
to-
days.
To be able to look at.
Yeah.
Get some information on that. Okay.
Okay.
Is that, so, everybody have a motion, did they?
No.
Don't
No.
have a
No,
motion,
no motion.
Okay.
So.
What do we pay for the 2 cell, what do we pay for the,
10 days?
what do we pay for the 2 cell phones they have in the squad cars? Do you know, Troy, or does they pay it?
I think it's roughly 100 to 130 a month for the 2. I don't know for sure. I could go and look if you would like.
So Troy, are you?
Oh, we got 10
looking at
days, I was
stipend
just
then?
curious.
Yes.
Okay, the
Patrol
other,
officers have,
the other officers aren't?
they have phones in this plan, so they
Okay.
do work that I can do.
Well, that changed, did they used to get a stipend? Okay,
Yeah, that changed a year ago with the LELS negotiations.
okay, got it. 2 different entities. Okay. I guess if no one has anything else to add, then we're ready to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, Joey, you stole my thunder.
You can second it, Jim.
I'll second.
Motion by White, second by Lassie, to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.